Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Douglas Morrison. I'm the President and CEO of the Centre for Excellence in Mining Innovation, which is the host organisation for the Mining Innovation and Commercialisation Accelerator, MICA network. I want to welcome you today to our webinar, which is about the Call for Proposals, CFP number 4, as part of the MICA programme. But first, since SEMI and MICA are based in Sudbury, Ontario, I want to acknowledge that we are located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabeg, the Atikameksheng First Nations, and we are close to the Wanapitei First Nation. And we also have a satellite office in Toronto, and when we're working out of the Toronto region, we're located on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wyandot First Nations. And that's a region that is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit and Métis. With that, I'm going to hand you off now to Charles Narbese, my colleague, who is the Network Director for the MICA programme, and he is also the Vice President of Business Development for SEMI, the Centre for Excellence in Mining Innovation. And with that, I will hand you off to Charles and let him take it from here. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you very much, Douglas, for that introduction, and thank you so much for setting the cadence what's going to happen next in this webinar. My name is Chamirai Charles Nyabeze, as Douglas said, and I'm super stoked to be able to be here to provide you guys with an overview of what MICA is going to do next with this fourth call for proposals. We already have 50 projects that we're funding right now, and with this funding that we received, we're going to be dedicating about $2.7 million to approximately 10 to 15 projects, maybe 10 max. We'll see what happens. But really excited to be able to open up this call so that we can keep advancing made in Canada technologies, which, by the way, are getting a lot of global interest. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to Carl McCall, who's our Director for Commercialization Services, and he's going to walk you through the requirements for this call for proposals that opens today and closes on April the 4th. Go ahead, Kyle. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. So just bear with me as I boot up the content that we have ready to go today. So I will be walking you through a bit of a PowerPoint presentation. We'll be reviewing the application intake forms, some eligible costs, and then taking your questions at the end of this all. So again, my name is Kyle McCall. I'm Director of Commercialization Services and Member Relations, and we're all very excited to have what looks to be 120 of you folks who are interested in this fourth call for proposals for MICA funding with us this afternoon. So let's get into it. First and foremost, this program is made possible by our funding partners at the federal government through the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, otherwise known as ISED, and we are funded through their Strategic Innovation Fund. So we just want to give them a shout out and say thank you to them for their continued support of this program. Without it, we wouldn't be able to support those 50 projects and the next ones that we're looking to support with this call for proposals. So thank you to ISED. As mentioned, just real quick, maybe before we jump into things, should you have questions as we go along the way, both the Q&A and chat are open, and my colleagues who are also on the call here will be monitoring those channels and being able to answer questions as they come in or saving them to the end. All right, so just if you're looking to communicate with us, that is the best way to do it. All right. So first and foremost, the MICA network. Who are we? We're a national ecosystem initiative designed to modernize mining, improve productivity and environmental performance, strengthen the Canadian mineral supply chain, and increase both domestic and export sales for Canadian innovators. We have a fantastic network of core partners that we work with to deliver this programming and to support innovative projects across Canada. From east to west, we've got the College North Atlantic covering our Atlantic provinces. We've got Group MICA in Quebec, another fantastic innovation organization. We've got Mars in downtown Toronto that supports us with programming. We've got the Saskatchewan Polytechnic looking after Manitoba and Saskatchewan for us. Innotech Alberta taking care of Alberta. And we've got the Bradshaw Research Research Initiative for Minerals and Mining out of UBC on our West Coast. Through them, we have access to a very robust set of expertise and connections and networks in those jurisdictions. So just one of the benefits that we are able to bring to you as innovators is those connections to the network across Canada. Next, and so really at the core of what we do here is we work to connect sites to solutions and solutions to opportunities. So in the network, we have both innovative solution providers as well as mine operators that are looking for kind of what's next and greatest in mining technologies. So let's jump into what we're all here for. We're here to talk about the call for proposals number 4, and this is to go over the phase 1 application for MICA funding. So first up, we are looking to support the development of innovative mining technologies starting at a technology readiness level of 6. If you are unfamiliar with technology readiness levels, it is what the federal government of Canada uses to determine kind of the readiness of a technology based on some key factors. So we are looking at moving up the TRL level here to a TRL of 6 with the goal of, if a project should be funded, we're moving it from a TRL 6 to an 8 or a 9 where it's ready to be commercialized and adopted by industry. MICA will be funding up to 33% of eligible costs, or a third of eligible costs, with a maximum of $500K in MICA funding support going to each project. Okay, applicants will be required to secure and demonstrate funding for the remaining project costs. Projects selected will incur a program administration fee equal to 15% of the MICA funding received. So a couple notes just on how the MICA funding is structured. The program is reimbursement based. So for every $3 spent on a project, the proponent will get $1 back in MICA funding on a claim by claim basis. Okay, and those claims need to be substantiated with invoices, receipts, all that good stuff that shows that you're spending money on the project. And of course, we reimburse up to the agreed upon funding contribution. So the example I have here is for a project of $750,000, a company can apply for up to $250,000 in MICA funding. All right. The projects that we're looking to support will need to fall into 4 themes, okay? And we're looking to support projects that fall into these themes of productivity, energy, smart, and environment. So we're looking to increase mine productivity capacity at a lower cost with these projects. Ideally, they're also reducing mining energy consumption and GHG emissions. We're helping to implement smart, autonomous, and digital mining systems. And we're reducing environmental risk and long-term liabilities. New to this call for proposals is 3 kind of emerging themes that we're going to be weaving into everything MICA moving forward. And that will be a focus on critical minerals and metals mining, circularity, and ESG and license to operate. That's what that LTO is, it's license to operate. So if you can, in some way, shape, or form, fit those themes into your application as well, there will be additional consideration made for them. The key dates associated with this program. So today is Friday, March 14th. Following this webinar, we will be opening up applications at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. The link to the application, so the application link, or I guess the portal that we're using, will be available on our website. Applications will then close on April 4th, Friday, April 4th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For those folks on the East Coast, sorry, you get shorted a little bit on the hours, and on the West Coast, you get a couple extra hours. But that is just how we're operating in here. So again, we've got a couple weeks, and when we get through into the application here, you'll see we are asking a fair bit of information, but nothing that is overly onerous and shouldn't take you, 5 weeks to put together. All right. Some other things to be aware of. Once the applications close, we will be taking those the applications that we get, and they will be going through our industry expert group, our industry ranking group, and our project selection committee. We will then be shortlisting the projects for moving on to a full application. Those that make it through that initial vetting will be invited to a full application on April 18th. We will then expect the full applications to be provided sometime in May, with the goal of having the funding awarded in June 2025 and project agreements in place between July and August 2025 so that these projects can get started as soon as possible. Okay, I'll mention it later, but keep in mind that these projects will need to be completed by March 2027. Okay, so application review. We're going into Decision Hub. So this is the portal that we're using. Some additional information about the call for proposals is available here, including key dates and what you'll need to know. There are also some helpful links to our semi-code of conduct and FAQ, and then if you need to contact us, there's a link there as well. All right. Now, if I move into this, you'll see that we start with a bit of a checklist. All of these need to be checked off, and it's basically just making sure that you understand what we're looking for and what you're committing to as part of the, should you be successful in this project. So membership is optional for phase 1 applications, but membership in good standing will be necessary for a phase 2 application. You recognize that a 15% administration fee will be charged should you be successful in the application to MICA funding. In-kind contributions are fantastic, but unfortunately they are not valid for matching funds for this program. You recognize that we can only fund registered Canadian corporations. Okay, you know what the deadline is. You can confirm that you've read the application guideline document. You can make multiple project submissions, and we have seen that in the past. So that is an option available to you. Understand that the request for funding needs to be capped at $500,000. Confirm that you adhere to the semi-code of conduct. We will not consider incomplete applications, so please be sure that you submit a completed application, that you will adhere to a 75%, to the 75% federal and provincial stacking limit. And if you're familiar with federal programs, you will know that this is pretty much status quo across all funding programs. And the information that you provide to us as part of this application will be shared with the MICA industry ranking group as well as our project selection committee. Okay, once we get through that, there should be no surprise. We're going to be looking for contact details. How can we get a hold of you should you be successful with your application? So please include the lead applicant here, whoever is leading it from your side, and will be the main contact. So that's who's going to get emails from me, who's going to get emails from Chamurai, who's going to be dealing with our finance department. Please, that should be the lead contact here. Okay, email, their direct telephone line would be fantastic. And then just in case we can't get a hold of them, please include a secondary contact name. All right, just to make sure that we're able to follow up accordingly should we be unable to get a hold of your main contact. Where your address, where you're located, what province you find yourself in, postal code, telephone number. Telephone number, if it's different from, maybe the main contact provides their cell phone number, this should be the main line to your business organization. All right, and then of course the website to your the website for your company. Next, are you a MICA member? When was your company incorporated in Canada? How much private sector investment have you raised in the last 5 years? So this would be, friends and family, angel investment, or VC funding that you've raised. How much government, provincial and federal support have you received in the last 5 years? So this would be programs like, IRAP, if you participated in any provincial funding programs, if you benefited from, say, Group MISA's Vortex program, that would be captured here. Note, SHRED is not a funding program, so this should not include SHRED dollars, okay? Financial statements available upon request. What is your revenue position? So we have supported a number of startups in the past through our funding program, and a good chunk of them are pre-revenue. So there's, please, check off the one that is most relevant to your position. If you have paying customers, if you currently service the mining industry, how long you have been working in the mining industry, and briefly describe the solutions your company provides to the industry. All right, this is typically probably the About Us page that you have on your website. So give us a little bit about the broad overview of your company. If you are a subsidiary of another company, please indicate that yes, you are indeed. Okay, and then which country is your company headquartered in if you are a subsidiary, or if you're just generally what country you're headquartered in. And then how many full-time employees, and if you're publicly listed. Okay, project details. Give your project a name. Okay, let us know what it's all about with your project name. Is your innovation or solution addressing a known problem in the mining industry, or is this completely novel and it's never been seen before? Project description. Notice there's a maximum of 100 words here. So this is kind of just a soundbite. I'd say your elevator pitch for your project. Give it to us short and punchy there. If you have project partners, if you're working with another mine operator, an engineering firm, or another company or two on this project, or an academic institution, if you're working with a college or university, include them here as project partners. Select the MICA theme that is most closely aligned with your project. So we went over those, but is it productivity? Is it reducing mine energy consumption, GHG emissions? Is it a smart autonomous mining system? Is it reducing environmental risk? Or is it all four of them? Please select the ones that are most closely aligned with the project. And then if there are those emerging themes, again, select the ones that is most relevant. Right now, we're looking for an estimated total project cost for this initial application. All right, so a big whole number here is more than enough. Should you be invited to the full application, we will be expecting a more robust budget to be accompanied that project application. If there is going to be in kind, estimate how much in kind will be provided, and then ultimately, how much funding are you requesting from MICA? Again, realizing that there's a $500,000 cap on that request. What technology readiness level are you? Do you fall in the 4 to 6 bucket, the 7 to 9 bucket? And then your commercialization readiness level. Select the one that is most applicable. Project duration. How long is this project going to take? Noting once again that the project needs to be completed by March 2027. So you may be based in Manitoba, but a good chunk of your work is taking place in Ontario. That's fine. Let us know what additional territories or provinces that your work is going to take place in. If you are going to be doing any international work, that is also okay, but please just let us know which countries that you anticipate project activities to be taking place in. And if you're engaging any Indigenous communities, let us know here as well. Okay, now this is where you tell us a little bit more about the project that you're applying for. So what is the industry problem challenge that is targeted by this project? What is your proposed solution for it? Explain why this is an innovative solution, and why is your solution described above the best option to solve the relevant problem. For these, it might be wise to include a bit of a competitor analysis to say this is the status quo or this is how it's being done versus what we're proposing here. Why is this an innovative solution? Again, tell us what is novel about your approach or the technology that you're developing. If you have any unique patents or years of research behind it, that is handy to have here as well. And then just generally, again, with the what is your proposed solution, tell us about it. Knowing full well that these answers are going to our project selection committee and our industry ranking group. So the information, now we're not looking for essays, okay? But certainly we want responses that are going to give us or paint the full picture of what the solution that you're proposing here is. Just a quick note on a best practice and what I often coach companies to do. I would actually go through this through Decision Hub here and answer the questions in a Word document. That way you can share it with your colleagues. You've got a saved version of it, and then you can basically just copy and paste your answers into Decision Hub. Yes, you're able to save, but it's always good to have a backup copy, if you will. All right. And then finally, you're going to tell us how your solution aligns with the themes that we're looking to support through the MICA programming. Okay. Cray, you just put up your hand briefly. Should I throw it to you? No. Okay. So next up,
it was an accident. Sorry, my bad.
All good. So I'm going to go to just building a project real quick. A couple notes on this. Successful projects that we've seen with the 50 projects that we've supported so far, they clearly address a problem or challenge faced by mine operators. They start at a technology readiness level of, I would say, 5 or 6 plus. They can demonstrate and quantify their potential impact, and they can demonstrate traction within the industry. And some may already have industry partners involved. These are strong projects that we typically see. These are the reporting requirements. Okay. There will be quarterly project update meetings, quarterly reports that are going to be provided will be required. We'll be looking for job creation, highly qualified professionals that are trained, follow-on investment, new connections and collaborations, and ultimately the final result of the project. I am going to throw it just real quick to another document we have here about eligible costs to give you a sense of when you are thinking about building that very general budget for your project, what you should be thinking about here. So broadly, we're looking to support industrial research, including activities related to the discovery of new knowledge that aims to support the development of new technology-driven products, processes, or services for the mining industry, and large-scale demonstration, including the advancement of the advancement and development of new technologies into product-specific applications, mid to late-stage technology readiness levels. Okay. So in terms of eligible expenses, direct labor is an eligible expense. Subcontractors and consultants can be eligible expenses. Again, as you know, making sure that they're moving you towards achieving key milestones. Direct materials or consumables that are going to be used in the creating of that technology. There is equipment is an eligible expense. I would just draw your attention here to that. For any equipment expense over $100,000, we have to have prior approval from the minister. Land and building improvements are also eligible. Again, I would say that $100,000 cap also, eligible activities here have to also be approved by the minister. Okay, so just make sure that when you're building that into any project or into your project idea, that we're flagging that for us, okay? Other direct costs, travel and outreach costs. So we do allow for international or even domestic travel, as long as it's related to the promotion and development of the technology or solution that you are receiving funding for. Okay, so if you're attending a conference specifically to talk about the project that we have supported, would be an eligible cost. And then there's some indirect costs related to overhead that are that you can claim. Just again, I would say, just note what the threshold here is for that overhead cost, and what this 15% here also applies to. All right. Again, this will all be available to you through our website as part of the application guidelines. And then there are some ineligible costs, which, if you are familiar with government funding programs, should be of no surprise to you. Okay. Back to my presentation here. Now, there are the reporting requirements, and then just a note on the project selection committee on how the project selection works. So we have a industry ranking group, and this is very exciting to us. as folks running the program is that we have experts who have volunteered their time to rank these projects from over 20 mine operations. So the folks that are going to be reviewing these applications have hands-on industry experience, all right, in operations. So they will probably, have experience or feel the pain of some of the technologies or solutions that you're hoping to see funded. And we use them to provide a bit of a ranking that informs our project selection committee. The MICA project selection committee is a specialized subcommittee of the SEMI board and is responsible for the evaluation of these selected projects. Okay. Again, made up of industry experts, folks that have many years in the mining industry and in operations. Again, just want to reiterate the key dates that we have for this program. So following this session here, we will be opening up applications at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and we will be closing applications on April 4th at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Now, I ran through that pretty fast, but this is the time now we have set aside for questions from the folks in the audience here. Again, you please use the Q&A or chat function to be able to ask these questions. Trade shows and conferences costs outside of Canada? Yes, they are, as long as it's directly associated with the commercialization of a project. So the max total project value for a project here, if you're looking to get the full 500K, the minimal total project cost that we'd be looking to support is $1.5 million. Of course, if the project is $3 or $4 million, fantastic. We're still only going to be able to support 500K, but we will look at those larger projects. Okay. Highlight the difference between non-eligible in-kind contributions versus stuff that you're paying for. I would say is people are giving you their time, expertise, and things for free, which would be an in-kind service. And there is a definition there that we can share versus an eligible expense for that is going to move the project forward on equipment, materials, or labor. All right, that would be how I would make the distinction there. If you have a successful ongoing project, you can apply. I would just, again, make sure that you don't have overlapping activities. So yes, just to be clear, if you are an SME, if you are a company here joining us and you are a successful recipient of MICA funding, you can apply for funding through CFP4. Okay. This webinar is being recorded. It will be available following this. We will rush to get it uploaded to YouTube and actually have it embedded on our front page of our website as well. All right. I believe we will also be following up with an email blast that will provide additional information, the guidelines, as well as a link to this recording to those that have registered for this event. Okay, sorry, there's a few more new posts here. So if you are a new business, if you are a startup, you are eligible for funding. All right, we don't have a kind of like 3 years in business stipulation, but we do ask for how many years you have been working in mining. So just be sure if you are saying you're a startup here, like you are, Brad, but it's based on a venture, just make sure that comes out in your application, that you identify that this is indeed coming from years of experience in the field. We just spun up a new venture to address that opportunity. Okay. SME, we're talking about SMEs in the small medium enterprise. That's what we mean by SME here. There is no NDA in place for this, so I would say share the information that you are comfortable sharing with regards to your intellectual property. Regarding equipment leases, we'd have to talk about that, I think, separately. I'm going to move over to the chat because it does seem like there's a handful in here as well. But it does seem like some folks have kind of gotten to these already. Chamurai, any in here in particular that you'd like to call out? How competitive is the program?
Yeah, there's a question here about if the technology is currently being used in other countries and the project involves development of same technology in Canada. And then the question there is, then will this be treated as a level 6 technology? Like, look, I think if you have a technology from outside Canada, you need to find a technology partner in Canada who's going to be your development partner for that technology. But if it's already off-the-shelf item, then there's no real need for you to apply for MICA funding. But if you want to customize the technology and for the Canadian context and you have a Canadian partner, that is something that I think can be considered, but we would have to look at it on a project by project basis.
In terms of the competitiveness of the project, so we are looking to fund between 10 to 15 projects of this funding round. And I think what we saw with CFP3 was that we had, I think, over 100 applications submitted. For the rounds before that, we had, I think, close to 200 each round submitted, with I think 15 in the round one and then 23 or 24 in the second round. So it is very competitive program. Chairman?
Yeah, I just want to add that for the people who are submitting these projects, the one thing we want you to know is that the volume of projects we receive allows us to also go shopping through other provincial programming and other federal programming to be able to support projects. So just because we are not able to fund every single project that comes through the door, it doesn't mean that we won't be able to connect you to other funding programs or other areas of interest. Again, because every project that comes through at this phase one is going to be put in front of mine operators, there's an opportunity for those minor operators sometimes to even pick up your project themselves. So please don't hesitate to submit your project fearing that you're not going to get MICA funding. There's more to MICA than just this funding pool that's available for you right now.
Okay. Expenditures incurred after applying, but before the award. I would say don't incur any expenses before the phase one application. Anything that you're looking to build into the project should be expenses that you're looking to incur in the future. Okay. Some of these have already been answered. Sorry, as I scroll through these. Okay, it does look like if I've missed yours, maybe just copy and paste it. We can.
Maybe that question on does MICA connect VCs or angels? I think what we've observed is that there's a lot of follow-on funding that actually comes after we have made an investment in a project. But at the same time, if your project is ready for VCs or angels to consider, we can actually help connect you to various, private investment funds that are across the country. So yeah, so definitely when you submit your project, maybe indicate in your proposal that you're also looking for additional support in connecting with these other funding sources.
Again, I'll do one last, I'll go back to the Q&A here because it does look like there's some new posts. If one of your SMEs is from outside Canada, are there costs applicable? I would say, first of all, the Canadian entity needs to be the one applying, and the costs that are associated with their project need to be the ones that are kind of most considered in the budget. There is not a max amount allowable for equipment purchases, but anything over that 100,000 does require minister's approval. So I just keep that in mind that if you are purchasing $500,000 of equipment with a $500,000 ask for funding, I would argue that that is probably outside of the spirit of which this funding program is administered and would probably be ineligible or would not get you very far in the application process. Multiple companies can apply together. That is a little bit more of a difficult. We are typically looking for one lead applicant and then partners associated. If you've got a bit of a consortium going on, tell us how it's working in the application, and we can kind of figure that out. If we have questions, we will follow up with you. Okay. One company can and have been, several companies, I think there's a handful of companies in the MICA program right now that have been awarded 2 funded projects. Okay. Yes, so.
Oh, there's a hand up from Alain TVH. I don't know if you have the control to allow him to speak.
Can. Mike, Alain, you are now unmuted. Well, sorry, you are still muted, but you're able to talk, so you have to unmute yourself. Alain? Oh, no, moving on here. Apologies. So, a couple more in the chat here. So I think we should also note, so the question here is in regards to mining entities that are looking for solutions, as MICA cater to connecting solution providers with them? Yes, we do. So as part of the network, we actually work directly with 8 mine operators. That includes Vale, Glencore Tech, BHP, Nutrien, IAMGOLD, New Gold, and Agnico Eagle. They all work within the network. We work with them to understand what their innovation roadmaps are, what kind of challenges they're seeing on site, and what kind of technology solutions that they're looking for. It's also worth mentioning that the companies that put up their hands to say, as part of the industry ranking group, that put up their hand to say, hey, they're solving a problem that we can see on our site. We will also be working to connect, to make those connections in the background should you be successful with your funding application.
So can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And
all right. So sorry, we're a bit delayed, but concerning the financing request, a few questions earlier. For TRL earlier, if your project has interest for the EU, there's quite a bit of funding. The IRMA booster call 3 or 4 times a year. Or again, National Research Council through the IRA programs has a number of bilateral funding projects when you have a company from another country that are part of Eureka. So down the road, this is something that you could consider calling us or checking if you are connected to our mailing list, because we publicize and informed regularly on those other sources, bilaterals or multilateral fundings, just to complete the requested informations. Thank you.
Thanks, Alain. So just for those folks in the audience who are unaware, Alain Tiver is our Director of Global Outreach, which is why he is very familiar with various funding opportunities available to you from international bodies. All right. Any other questions here that I've missed? Chamurai or other colleagues?
Yeah, I think I see a hand up from Paul Abbey.
Oh, sorry, Paul. So Paul,
Okay.
I'm going to give you the chance to unmute.
And also Keith as well.
Allow Mike. Paul, just note you're muted, but you can talk. So you just got to unmute yourself.
Oh, okay, good. Thanks for unmuting me. It's hard when I can't talk. Anyway, there was a question earlier about some matchmaking. I think the expectation generally is that most cool project idea development firms already have good client contacts. But having said that, for Sask Manitoba or NWT, I certainly would be happy to meet with anyone that needs some matchmaking to end use customer. And I can tell folks that we have 30, 35 operating mining companies there, as well as well over 120 exploration stage or development stage projects. So there's a pretty full bucket here. If folks need help, we're happy to help them.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. And just again, worth mentioning, Paul Abbé here, who just spoke, is our partner at SAS Poly. So he is a part of the MICA network, and we meet with him regularly and make connections to him as a kind of an expert there in Saskatchewan and beyond for the mining technologies that we have in our network. Now, Keith, I do see your hand up, but I am kind of just going with friendlies here, and I don't want to open up a can of worms by going to opening up Q&A for everyone here outside of the comments or the Q&A section. So if you could put your question into the Q&A or chat, that would be how we were going to address it. Okay. I think I've actually made my way through most of these.
Does Keith has a question?
So like I just said, Alain and Paul, I let you guys speak because I know who you are, unfortunately. And so we're just trying to keep the moderation and control here before we open it up to a whole bunch of different SMEs and folks that want to speak. So if you have questions for us, you feel free to reach out to myself or some of my other colleagues that have spoken here online. That is my email address. Feel free to send me an email. And if you have questions about the MICA funding program, you will also be able to access our info box through our website. Okay, and just to be clear again, because we did have a couple. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I just want to jump in and say Keith Lay did put a question in the chat box, and Keith, just answer your question quickly there. You know, yes, we're looking for new innovative technologies, not necessarily new innovative research, right? Because we want to actually see commercialization happen with these technologies. That's why we're a little bit higher on the TRL level. Now, I will say those to you though, a lower technology TRL project that can quickly go up the TRL scale could be something that can be considered by the network. So if you have something, you know, in mind that you know can become commercially ready or demonstration ready within a very short time, feel free to submit that as well. And I also want to acknowledge, our friends from the group MISA, Malika. She's also available to be able to assist anybody in the Quebec region who may need support.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining. Hopefully we did you've got a much better understanding of this next call for proposals and how it's going to work. Again, just to reiterate the key dates, to keep these in mind before you head off on your merry way. This is what we're looking for. Applications will be open later today, and they will be closing on April 4th. All right. Access to the Decision Hub platform will be made available on our website. If you have questions, please use the contact us or the info box link available there, or shoot me an email. I'm happy to direct you in the right, to put you in the right direction. Okay, that's it from us. I'm sure we will be hearing from many of you over the next 2 weeks. And best of luck. We look forward to seeing a number of innovative mining projects and solutions coming our way, and continue to advance innovation in the Canadian mining industry. So thank you all for your time, and we will be in touch shortly with the recording and additional information for the MICA call for proposals number 4. Thank you all, and have a great day. Enjoy your weekend.